We find ourselves here again, gentlemen. I love this for us. But it's it's been a while. Hello there. If you're new, go ahead, subscribe, leave a like, super chat, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But today, just want to do a quick little 30-minute stream to catch us up on some current events in the NBA right now because the playoffs have been quite interesting, but mildly. I've been bless you. I have been doing my little thing, trying to cover all of the teams, trying to stay up to date on all the NBA drama. But somehow things still elude me at times. And as we speak, as a matter of fact, Cleveland is currently losing to Boston. Boston looking to get a sweep in Cleveland, which would get very ugly. Obviously, none of the Cleveland Cavaliers fans expect them to legitimately win the series, but just staying alive a little bit longer makes things look a lot better. Donovan Mitchell has been hooping as we all expected. In a short while, actually, the Thunder and the Mavericks will end up having their fourth face off. Dallas currently leading 2-1, looking to go up 3-1. So things can get very wicked very quickly. I myself don't really have a particular issue with it. As a matter of fact, I more than welcome it. It just makes the most sense to me personally. Um, Enjoying the league for what it's worth right now. We've had some of our best playoff basketball games of all time, arguably, this season right here. And when I say that, I don't mean it as exaggeration because in the first round, we actually watched those games. And there wasn't really, you could argue that the Magic and the Cavaliers were just kind of like an game, two smaller market teams that just don't tend to find themselves in situations where they are the most beloved, they are the most enjoyed. So that is to be expected. But at the same time, things happened. And it was a good series. It went 7 games. So I hope everybody ended up catching at least one of them. It's very interesting. We got to see Jalen Suggs play some elite defense and put Darius Garland in a gas chamber. He was fighting for his life all series long, and things did not get better for him at any particular point, if I do say so myself. Now, things obviously end up getting a little bit more interesting as the series goes on. And we find ourselves now having Cleveland versus Boston, OKC versus Dallas, Indiana versus the Knicks, and Minnesota against Denver. And that's really the one that I'm keeping my eyes on the most out of everything because that's the one that just really piques my interest, if I do say so. Now, there are very many things that could, change things, go around, beat around the bush, whatever the case may be. But it's never quite the same as what I have in my head. And when I say that, it's one of those things where the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves are, of course, both very well coached, very well organized, and just schemed rosters of teams. And it's important for them to be able to do just a myriad of different things because it keeps the game refreshing. It's a battle of minds and also a battle of players. And you always want to find yourself in a situation where you can enjoy watching things for what they are, but also enjoy just the hard work and the grind and the sweat, the tears, all that stuff that goes into each matchup. Now, we saw Minnesota end up stealing 2 games, obviously on the road. Denver came back and stole 2 games on the road as well. So now they're going back to Denver. Minnesota needs to go ahead and swipe the floor with them. At the current moment, a lot of people feel as though Denver has momentum. I wouldn't even go that far, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because to me, is Denver is the energy low key leaning their way? Of course, but by and large, I wouldn't say that there's anything too concerning to think about. For me personally, at least, uh, they were just a quality team. They had a slump those first 2 games, and they came back and they're playing exactly like who we know them to be. And it can be frustrated. Best believe it can. But It's one of those things where you expect the Denver Nuggets to bounce back. They are the champions from last year. They do have the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. However, we may disagree or agree with that take. He is arguably and non-negotiably a top 3 player in the NBA at this very moment. For that reason, Denver will always have the opportunity to come back. Just like when we would find ourselves in situations back when LeBron was in his prime, and I know he's close to his prime, but not nearly the same player that he was. When LeBron was down in series, you still thought he could win. Not because of the scheme, not because of the coaches, not because of where the games were played, but because they had LeBron James on their team. Same thing with Nikola Jokic, right? He is a great player. He is an elite player. And at the same time, while most people don't find things to be the most impressive and just energizing about his game, he's a bona fide superstar. It's non-negotiable. And in tandem in the playoffs with the one and only Jamal Murray, he's been even better. And while they did have a slow start to the series, they caught fire and then they had Aaron Gordon catch fire, and things have just been a disaster for Minnesota. Now, to Minnesota's credit, right? I like to think it's just a couple misses. Just a couple misses here and there. Overall, you can't expect anything more from Anthony Edwards. The man has scored 40 points multiple times. He just had 40 this most recent game. He had 44 on 62% shooting from the field, and he didn't have an incredibly high turnover night. So he did his job to a T. But you had in game 3, Karl-Anthony Towns doing a disappearing act, only having attempted 7 shot attempts. If you're supposed to be the number 2 scoring option on that team, you can't get away with doing that, right? Defense is important for him. But at the same time, no, you can't escape that one. For him, though, on this game, obviously game 4, he shot 17 shots and hit 6 of them. So he was terrible. Defensively, he wasn't a cone per se, but he didn't have the same level of success that he had the first 2 games. Probably not even arguably in the way that he did in the third one. But nevertheless, if anybody can right this ship, I think that Chris Finch can. Great coach, great coaching staff. I think the players are cerebral enough, and Anthony Edwards alone, as a leader for this team, is the best leader they could have come across. He is that person that has that clutch gene. He has that fire in his belly. A lot of people say, "Oh, he looks like MJ. Oh, he plays like MJ." It's cool and everything, but at the same time, Anthony Edwards is Anthony Edwards at the end of the day. AE. That's what he is, right? He is a great player, but we need to appreciate him as the player that he is, and not as somebody's potential son, right? Because that's just all over the place, neither here nor there. And it just quite honestly doesn't matter that much. We find ourselves in a situation right now where you also have the Knicks and the Pacers going back and forth, them tied 2-2. I was famously quoted in a podcast episode recently saying that, the Knicks can't afford this game to go outside of 5, because when you get to game 6, game 7, and you have dead legs, you're in danger because you can't trust your bench to help save you, right? Jalen Brunson has to score a lot. Josh Hart has to be on. All these things have to be like just in perfect cohesive nature, and they haven't been lately. And that's the problem, particularly in game 4 when everybody was shooting so bad. I think the big 3 that was on the court combined for, well, the Villanova boys, Dante Vincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson combined for like 27 points between the 3 of them. Mind you, Jalen Brunson had been scoring 40, 30 for a significant period of time. So that was his first game break this entire playoff series. And understandably so, people didn't necessarily love the product of the situation, but it was one of those things where it was expected. They saw what it was, they understood what it was, and they just rolled with the punches for what it was worth, because that's all they could do, right? And they rolled the bench out there early, let those guys get some minutes, let them, have some fun. Alec Burks went off, had 20 points, but obviously it wasn't game changing. They still lost that one. But going into game 5, they go back to New York, right? They won their 2 games at home. Indiana won their 2 games at home. So if it's a home court situation, give me the Knicks, right? But at the same time, game 7 in Madison Square Garden isn't going to be pretty for the Knicks because they're going to be tired. But going back to their home place, having that opportunity to just recoup, having not played 40 freaking minutes the previous game, I think they're going to have the best opportunity to go ahead and step up and make something happen. I think that they will, and they'll go up 3-2 in their series, potentially with the ability to close it out and go, just one more game. Just one more game. If they can close out in 6, fantastic, because they don't want it to go 7, because 7 might just be too much for them. But that was just a quick little recap. I just wanted to touch base and make a little something for everybody that hasn't, seen anything going on recently. I didn't want to tickle too many buttons. But, currently at this time of the recording, the Cavs are down by 10 at the end of the third, so they are in genuine danger of having their season put in jeopardy. Remember, it is 2-1, not 3-1 just yet, but it is expected to be 3-1 and 4-1. A lot of people expect the gentleman's sweep. I was hoping to give them 6 games, but if they can't win at home, I don't trust them to do it again on the road. Not to say it was a fluke the first time, because they definitely earned it, but the likelihood of them being able to do it again just doesn't seem like it's on the court. It's not in the field of play. And then you have Donovan Mitchell out for game 4, but it's surprising that they're only down 10 despite it. With that being said, and if all hearts and minds are clear, I'd like to appreciate anybody that tuned into this brief podcast, this brief live stream. You know what I'm saying? It's been a while. Got to get back into the swing of things, try some more things. Gonna have a lot of videos coming out this summer. I'm gonna be able to tunnel in. I won't have the other job that I have, but I'm gonna have to make sure that, the channel thrives. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Get the views back up, get everybody back interested, and have everybody enjoying ball coming into the offseason, man. That's going to be the biggest thing for us. But with that said, and if all hearts and minds are clear, as always, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into this live stream. Go and smash that like button, subscribe, become a member of the channel to help support the content. And without further ado, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.